Hello, everyone. Welcome. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good middle of the night. Um, it's nice to have you here. Thank you to everyone who's been waiting for me. I've been patiently putting my children to rest. Um, and now I'm about to work on a Procreate portrait of Agent Smith from The Matrix, Hugo Weaving, who is very cool. And I'm glad to see, Cindy, that you are motivated. I'm sympathetic with you, Martina, that you are hungry. Hello, Ulverine, Rachel. Um, Green background, yes, green as a theme. There's a lot of green. There's this like color schemes between the Matrix and the real world. I think in the real world is like cool blues, and in the Matrix is a lot of green going on. So yeah, we'll see. I'm sure there'll be some green in this portrait. Let's go for it. Leslie, who else is here? Who else has been here? I've seen some people have already finished their portraits and already posted them in the Discord server, which is very cool. And I'm just about to begin. And notice I have some paint splashes on my iPad. Like watery paint. Okay, so how's everyone doing? Cindy is also hungry. Then feel free to get a snack. I won't be snacking, but you can all do what you like. Okay, welcome to Procreate. You could also be using the Sketchbook app. You could be using pen and paper. I'll just have a quick look. Here is the Train Man from last weekend. And oh, the color is so different on the screen than it actually is here, which is interesting. And also, with a very green filter over this color layer. Here is the Oracle. So let's see how we go today. Look, some nice green in here. Also some very lovely earthy, warm tones. And now, Agent Smith. So, does anyone have anything to say about Agent Smith as we commence on this journey today? Or any questions? Any insights? Anything? If anyone has anything to say, feel free. And I shall begin. Is there anything to say? I still smell the oil, the pastels from yesterday. Nina Simone, it was lovely seeing everyone's sketches. I was wondering today about this thing of like every day a different medium. It's just what's going on, isn't it? But perhaps you are all, what are you working with? If you're not using Procreate, or if you are using Procreate, tell me, what is it that you are using today? I like this color wheel thing. I like to kind of slide around and move things and like grab a color. There we go, green. Oh, it looks so different to that. It's such a warm green. See if I can get something in my green selections. That looks pretty close. I'll go back to that. That was the incandescent light setting. Not entirely accurate because the background looks much cooler and my hand looks not like there's any life to it. Martina just bought some linseed oil to use soon, and you didn't know what I meant by the smell. Yes. They definitely do have a scent. There's a very particular oil, and it's probably the smell of linseed oil, that oily scent. Yeah. I presume that's what they're made of. That's like the default paint, right? The default oil for oil paint. I'm wondering now just about grabbing a shape. I'm going to use the free hand selection tool. all the way, and I'll just start at the hair here and just start with a shape and see what happens. And make it like a warmer, dark red, brown color. Okay, here is our initial shape. So just dropping a shape in, quick as that, and from this point on to be like, okay, how do I react to this? What do I like about this shape? What about this shape needs to be really different? And this just gives us a starting point to do something, anything. Mark, party. Oh, that was meant to be an emoji, but it's also great just to say party. Cindy's using a ballpoint pen and green watercolor, no ink today. I'm happy to have you here live again, Mark. We did Nina Simone at your suggestion yesterday, and you loved it. Mr. Live but caught up with the replay. Thank you for watching the replay. I can make this bigger. The last couple, I found the Oracle and the Train Man. I realized ended up being quite small in the composition, and I do have this strange composition, which is the like phone screen Instagram reel dimensions, which I've set up my, I'll just have a look, let you know. It's 2700 by 4800 pixels. And when I set it up back in the day, the first time I did it like that, years ago, I chose that resolution, that size, because that was the size of Instagram Reels. And you get an instant replay, if you want it, of your decision-making process, and can make a time lapse, which is cool, which you can very conveniently then post to Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, whatever. I'm not sure about that warm color. Maybe I want something a bit darker, and I can also make it transparent just a bit. Multiply, transparent. Yeah, I really like the transparent layers, working with transparent layers in Procreate. Lots of shapes and layers. And just thinking, I think the glasses could belong to the same layer as the hair. So I like to try and economize on my use of layers. I've made this kind of, this side of the face pretty narrow, but I'm just going to go with this and see what happens. Doesn't have to be perfect. Inspired by perfection. Doesn't have to be perfection. And it may be more alive for its inaccuracy. And maybe that adding the tie, and they can exist together as similarly dark. Happy birthday, Claire. My dear sister's birthday today. We got to talk, so that was nice. Yeah, cool, Cindy. I can't wait to see what you do with Procreate. It'll be cool. Oh, there are 13 people watching. Say hello in the chat. Who are you? Where are you? Have you seen The Matrix? I was going to ask something. What was it? Oh yeah, I was going to ask about Agent Smith and what people associate with Agent Smith. Do you know anyone in the real world who's like Agent Smith? It's interesting because it's like Agent Smith becomes Smith, doesn't he, when he becomes unplugged. So it's interesting here to this reference to see that he's still an agent of the Matrix. So I can just try these things out and be like, whoa, that's a bit, but I can drop back the intensity of that color and just kind of go with it for now. Well, so I'm looking at that bright shape on the neck, but it's quite significantly darker than the light shapes up in the portrait, so the face. So I was gonna, should I make it the same layer? Yeah, I'll make it the same layer. Hey Oliver, hello. Thank you for popping in. Have to get up early tomorrow for Mother's Day. Hello Gretchen from the USA. Hello. Nice to have you here. Happy Mother's Day to any mothers watching this on Mother's Day. And to anyone else. Thank you to all of the mothers. Thank you for mothering. Is it Mother's Day in Germany too? I get confused. So I was talking to my mum, who's in Australia, who was saying about it being Mother's Day, but there's something, maybe Mother's Day is the same, but Father's Day isn't, or something. Kira's not here at the moment, so if it is, we will have a new addition to our rabbit habitat ready as a Mother's Day gift when she arrives home. We went to the hardware store, the Baumarkt, today to get materials to increase the life quality and well-being of our rabbits, and also lessen my own concern with the fear of predation, that they may someday be eaten. If I'm able to make it more safe, which has been my task before having rabbits. This time last year, I would never have imagined how much of my mental capacity and how much care and concern and work these rabbits would be. But now I do know. So this is something, there's a lot about this which is not as cool as the source material, but we can change things around. This is a layer, and we can make it recede, we can make it more transparent, we can put other layers on top and kind of keep layering and keep making shapes until we feel good. So that's what I'm going for. Have people here seen the most recent Matrix film, I wonder? I think I watched it last year sometime, and it certainly didn't have the kind of transformational buzz and excitement that the first did for me, because I think it was my last year of high school when I watched The Matrix. And I was just like, I was so into it. Put that back down here. Ignore numbers. What numbers are to be ignored? All right, this feels like a good kind of foundation to do some things from this point. I can kind of be like, what could be different here? So a cool thing you can do is you can just like grab a whole bunch of stuff and kind of move it all at the same time, because I'm thinking I kind of squeeze things in together a bit, and I can just like pull it out a bit. I feel like this shadow, this should be more shadowy, not as kind of prominent as it is. So I can just cut that out, and from here start doing some more stuff, make a new layer and do stuff. So the idea this month is to work, my idea is to make portraits just focusing entirely on shape rather than using lines. And I think this way of working in Procreate is like amazing opportunity to do just that. Make that a multiply layer, and that's too dark. I can soften it a bit just by reducing the transparency, increasing the transparency, reducing the opacity. What have people been doing today, other than me, who was at a hardware store? When was the last time you saw The Matrix? Have you not seen The Matrix? So tomorrow, I mentioned yesterday that tomorrow a tutorial that I filmed will be released, part of the Mastering Mixed Media series of tutorials, which has been put together by Tam from Willowing Art. And I posted about it today on my Instagram. If you're interested, you can check that out. I didn't get around to writing to my mailing list today. Sometimes it's amazing how I can just not get things done. But I have been dedicated to the contentment of my children, and that has been pretty successful, so that's good. This could be a bit bigger perhaps. So it's really interesting like this. There's just ways of working digitally that we're just like, wouldn't be able to do this on paper, which is really interesting. And you pick your color from the original image itself from the color pick selection tool. You can. The way I'm doing it, it would be interesting just as a little kind of demonstration thing. But you can put your reference into Procreate. I have it open in the Photos app alongside here. Oh, Nina Simona's still there. So I have Procreate here and the photo here. But what you can do is up here. Go into the tools and go to, is it drawing guide? No. Reference, here, reference. Choose an image, import image, and I can put this image in a little reference window over here, and I could like zoom in on it and stuff. So you can actually, for whatever reason, I like having just the Photos app alongside, but I could actually have the reference open over here. And if you have the reference open in Procreate, you can color pick right from it. So here, I just color picked that tone. And so you can make the color selection if you want it to be exactly like it is on your reference image. You can pick it right from there. And it could be interesting. I like kind of picking things by eye, and I know it's like way off and it's not accurate. But oh, wait a minute. No, I want to make a new layer for that. I've lost the shape now. So here, make that less opaque. What was I just about to say? Oh yeah, it could be really interesting if you have like a photo, like I have taken photos of dry grass. I don't know what kind of grass it was, but I remember being somewhere at like a national park and just like, the colors in this grass are amazing. And I took this photo years and years and years and years ago, thinking that these colors would be so cool in a painting. Not necessarily a painting of grass, but just to use as inspiration for a color palette. And if you wanted to, you could put an image in here, or I guess you could put it right into the canvas that you're working on. But having this reference window just lets you kind of have like this separate window within Procreate that you can access and look at. And if you wanted, you could have the image which has the colors that you want to reference and be inspired by, like dry grass, and just have that alongside and just pick from those colors during a portrait painting, which could be really cool. I think that'd be a really interesting idea. So yeah, you can, if you're using it like this, you can pick your colors directly from the reference image. But I like to just kind of swirl around on the color wheel and pick things sometimes, and I think it kind of leads to me learning more about color, making my own decisions about what I'm going to use. But if you find an image and it's just got like a color scheme that you're in love with, you could totally do that. Just grab your colors right from the image. It also can be interesting learning to understand color with a digital tool, because if I went in here, I could, within this wheel, this color wheel, which is a thing that I understand, if I'm like, oh, interesting, this is like a super warm red, like it exists between orange and deep red, and it's a really bright desaturated version of that color. This is why I like this color wheel. There are different ways of choosing your colors. There's like old school Photoshop. Here you can put in your like Pantone coordinates to get exactly the color you want. But I like this because you have the color spectrum here, and then you can move to like chroma and dark and light, and over here it's like the desaturated area, but it still has a little bit of that color. So that is something which is really interesting, looking at and learning to understand color in this way. And by picking colors from this image, like here, I'm like, okay, this is a shadow shape. It looks kind of green. What color is it actually? Oh wow, this is way more yellow than I imagined. It's very desaturated and very dark, but I did not look at this and think yellow. So that it can be really interesting to gain some insight into colors by picking colors from an image like this to kind of understand them. Interesting. No way I would have gone here and gotten a super dark desaturated yellow for that shadow shape. No way. But since I've got it now, I'll use it and see what happens. But it could also be like from pixel to pixel, it can be different colors. So the way that I'm working, I'm just using these big blocks of color, making these shapes. But of course, it's a very intricate, multifaceted color universe in these images. It still looks really green to me, but it's like a really dark desaturated yellow. And that's interesting because color within the context of surrounding colors also does all of these incredible things. This Thursday on the Drawn Together show, we're going to be chatting to Ian Goldsmith, who has dedicated his life to color, and it's going to be very interesting. If you have any questions, if you queries about colors, it's going to be a really cool show. So definitely come and join us for the Drawn Together show on Thursday. It'll be really cool. Would love to have you there, and you can ask Ian all of your color questions. Be interesting to know how Ian came to his color fascination, because he really has dedicated himself to color in a way that like no one else I know. Are people familiar with Ian Goldsmith's work and his book, Color Theory for Artists? Ian is great and has been our guest on the Drawn Together show in the past. He was guest 3, episode 3, back in the day. When was that? Like a very long time ago. I'm gonna put the reference image back up. Is it interesting to look at it like this, or is it cooler for you to see the reference image a bit better? I wonder. I could keep color picking from that source image, or I can. Linda's here. Hello, Linda. I'm gonna get rid of this. Put that back there. Unless you say to me, "Hey, no, that was really interesting. That was really good. Put it back. And then I will. Because unlike Oscar Wilde, I'm happy to do things that other people like. Which I'm sure is not what he was saying. But, you know, if you were here for our Oscar Wilde portrait, you may understand the reference. Which I think is an interesting discussion. A lot of potential, very interesting. And Linda, you asked about me being in the Mastering Mixed Media extravaganza, and my class is coming out tomorrow, so you'll be able to catch it there. A cool thing about this is it remembers like the most recent 10 colors you used. And so if I go back, if I'm still in a limited amount of colors and layers that I'm using, because if you've got a lot of different things going on, then it's not going to remember the color. And of course you can do the like color selection thing by holding, but yeah, what I just did was I was like, oh, I want to lift the color a bit. I can just go in here and it will show me just some recent colors that I've used. So I think that's pretty cool, the history of color choices there. here, I wonder, is that still in my list of choices? I think so. I want to expand the shadow out beyond the nose over here. And I will take a moment to see what has been said in the chat. If you would like to say something to me, if you have any questions, observations, anything you would like to say, then please do so. I could also, like the whole dark shape I started with here is like way darker. And that was just like the starting point in that first layer. It could be interesting now to remove it and see what I've got going on here. Oh, that's interesting. Every layer since then has been somewhat transparent. And that was just my base shape to get started, just to have something down to respond from, which is a great thing. Once you've got things down and you can start making decisions informed by what you've just done, is very helpful. Yeah, the first time I saw The Matrix, it was just like mind-blowing. I don't know if anything else. Like there are great films out there. I'd love to hear from you. If what media have you consumed that has just like blown your mind, taught you new things, just been like amazingly entertaining? And there are all these different, like, I feel like the Matrix for me and for many people satisfied like so many different things. Like it just looked really cool. The whole philosophy of it was like, what? Mythological references. There was so much cool stuff in there. And yeah, the first time I saw it, I was just like nothing else I had ever put into my mind. And it was interesting, like I mentioned, I don't know, 15 minutes ago, how I watched the most recent, I can't even remember what it's called, like The Matrix 4. And it was interesting, like it was fun, but it didn't move me like back in the day. The first encounter with the world of The Matrix was just yeah, so interesting. So here, this is interesting. I'm in my own kind of choice space. I've got this desaturated red, and I could, if I'm keeping it dark and saturated, I could almost make it any color, and it would be interesting. Like, what if it was something totally different, which I don't see in this image at all? What if I put some, like, I don't know, this might be, I can change this, which is good. And that's a cool thing with, and multiply, just make it super dark anyway. But the cool thing with using Procreate and this like digital tools is that like it's just so easy to change, reconsider decisions you've made, and do things a bit differently. What? I just lost that shape. What happened? Oh, it's just I made it a layer, which is, yeah, I don't know. That bluish color, not really cool, but like theoretically I could make it anything. But I realize if I put another layer on in the end, like just to see what's going to happen and change things around a bit, it could probably get pretty weird, but it could be interesting. Where do I want this to be? that's kind of doesn't make sense to me. What are people saying? I'm here. Yeah, Linda, nice to have you here for this Procreate session. Yeah, pixel by pixel. So many different colors in there. Like if we could take the source material, and I don't know if there was a way you could just put it into something which would tell you how many different colors there are pixel wise. That would be super interesting to know how many colors that reference image is actually made of. And this process of like reducing it to a limited selection of colors is interesting. Like, of course, it's it becomes just a stylized kind of implication of what's actually there, but the process of figuring out some simplification from the complexity of it is an interesting process to undertake. Linda, you love watching me put these shapes in this way. You're definitely going to try this. Yes, please do. I'd love to see what you do with it. Gretchen, Procreate's fascinating. Love watching your work, Dylan. You've watercolored him. Cool. I hope you're going to share with us there. I put it up earlier in the chat, but the the Discord server link, I would love people to be sharing there, and on Instagram. You can tag me on Instagram, and if you make a post, mention me, tell all your friends, invite people to the party, because it's really fun drawing together. So here is the link to the Discord server, and we are currently at 339 members, and it's so great to have everyone there. And if you want to share on Instagram, at Dylan Sara. I don't believe that Hugo Weaving has an Instagram account, but I'm not sure. Sorry, this is a few minutes back in the conversation, but Mark, what? Oh, I thought more about that. What did you think more about? Plein air shapes. Big C and little c, two types of creativity. One is wild, like Oscar, and one is like a skilled craftsperson. Most people work with both to find themselves in their art. Yeah. Oh, Cassidy said something recently about this, like different ways of being creative, and that sometimes the process can be so fulfilling, and just being in the creation, and then the result can be kind of like, and sometimes the process doesn't feel that engaging, but the result can be really satisfying. This is different, but you're saying big C, little c made me think of these two different ways of being in a creative space, and to do with craftsmanship perhaps, because if you're putting in the craftsmanship, the work, all of the steps that go towards making a thing become a thing, I think that's perhaps maybe more of that craft side, to be able to have the skills and techniques to be able to make a thing, and then it can lead towards having something incredibly satisfying. Cindy, looking forward to starting with the digital version of him. Very inspiring to see how I am approaching this portrait with this tool. I love the freehand selection tool. It's so cool. There were so many great movies around that time. I know. And so much good music, right? I feel like there was this phase where I was just like, took on all of this information, like movies and music, and it just like it I've thought a lot about it, and I wonder if there are times when we are kind of becoming ourselves, informative times in our life when we take on all this inspiration and the stuff that I consumed. I think I might need to go get some water. But music and film, around that time, it was like, wow, there was so much that I was so inspired by. It was so exciting. And I imagine that would be the same for my parents, but for a very different set of things, which like excited and inspired them in their time. Because I took, like, I remember being totally blown away by this film and like, Dad, you got to watch this with me. It's like, wow, it's amazing. And I think he liked it, but he wasn't as excited as I was. Keeping the reference photo in Procreate would be more comfortable. Could be. Do whatever feels good, whatever works. That scene where he finally wakes up coming out of the gooey mess. Oh, yeah. Wow, yeah. It was like, what is happening? What am I watching? What is going on? That was such a cool scene. In school, everyone trying to do the bullet dodging scene and just seeing how many memes have been created is funny. It's, yeah, so influential. Leslie, you've never done a Procreate Portrait. It's pretty cool. Oscar Wilde, Big C, Little C. Yes, I remember. I was like, what are you saying? And then you had already addressed what you were saying. And it's a, super interesting conversation. I shall continue. So this has already been 40 minutes. This is not even 5 minutes a day is worth it practice. This is something different. Okay, I was going to get into, I like a lot of the shapes here. Really cool. I was going to get into the mouth, nose area, like start looking at areas. So there's a lot going on here. Something about, I just kind of, as I zoomed out, I was like, there's something neo, some similarities, something going on there. The glasses, kind of the pose, very different character. Or maybe not. Antithetical, but not different. All right. So some of the facial features which are going to make it really like, oh yeah, cool. That's that character. There are some things that can be done, I think, which are going to be good. And just getting in. No, I don't need to always go multiply, but I wonder. I like the multiply tool, but I guess it doesn't always have to be the case. Wait a minute. So it's kind of interesting where it's at the moment, but I feel like there's just by adding some shapes. The transitions between light and shadow are often really interesting spaces, and this way of building up the portrait is it's a lot of very hard shapes, but we can keep adding transparent shapes, which, although each shape is a very clear cut, defined shape, the layering kind of leads to a kind of softness somehow, which is, I feel like a really fascinating way to work and see an image be kind of come together. Oh yeah, the scene waking up in the real world. So I'm now reading The Subtle Knife with my 11-year-old from Philip Pullman. Oh, and it's so cool. Like, how good are good stories? There's like so much amazing stuff happening in it. And then at some point it's like, oh wow, this is like our world. And it's like, oh, this is very different. This is like what's going on. And or just this thing about how dust is kind of like the I Ching, and there's this particles of consciousness that communicate with us through different means of accessing this kind of conscious awareness. Oh, it's so interesting, such a cool story. And how, just thinking about the Matrix and how, and his Dark Materials series, I guess, just how any good story can leave such an impression and be like, oh, kind of open doorways to how we think about things and how we perceive things, and it's pretty amazing. Like, and I guess things like that, it's like if anyone ever wonders about like what's the point of art, what's the value of art, and then you get to have those kind of experiences, it's like it's kind of mind-blowing how valuable some of this stuff is. Like what it can do for our perception and understanding of the world, and yeah, I don't know, like, because I guess this is something, it's like, what are we doing when we're here, just, you know, spending an hour drawing a face? What is the process that we're involved in? And it's like, this painting is not like the book The Subtle Knife. But there's something wonderful about just being tapped into, in tune with the creative process. It's so cool. And I don't know what I'm kind of thinking around here at the moment, but like there's large scale. There are projects of large scale creative influence, I guess, like The Matrix or his Dark Materials, these stories which so many people are aware of and share. But then that's something we talked about in another stream, I think, was there's this, or it's a conversation I've had with a few people, definitely on a Tuesday. I know we've talked about it during Tuesday drawing session, that there are so many creative things that would just like everyone has access to, and the possibility to be able to participate in different creative things, whether it be creating images or singing, storytelling. And so it doesn't have to be a giant, grand film or novel that seeps into the awareness of millions of people. Each small moment of creativity, and each opportunity we have to connect with consciousness, of being aware, and if we can be aware of the beauty of something while making something, there's I don't know, there's something special. And there's a lot, like, There's a lot going on, which is not beautiful. Yeah, and I wonder, within the context of all of that, to be able to access these states, these moments of creativity, and oh yeah, I wonder what it is. What is this thing we get to tap into? Maybe that's got something to do with dust from his dark materials. All right, there's a lot going on here now. I somehow... What is going on? What else needs to go on? What needs to happen? The lips could actually... Like, I felt like I made them way too dark when I made it a multiply layer, but... darker would be good. Oh, definitely got to put the earplug in. Create a layer for the earplug. A significant prop, accessory. I'm not sure this is even going to work out how I think it might. I'm going to take the brush for this with... Oh no, where's my shape? Yeah, here. Hey Nicole. The hair at his forehead looks like a curl. Yeah, this was I started here. This was the first shape I made, and by the time I worked my way around, I was like, well, maybe I should come back here, and I put it in a bit further. So yeah, thank you for pointing that out. I could come back to that because it does look like a nice little curl, doesn't it? But I remembered as I made the shape in the beginning, I was like, I thought I would change it, but it's still there. That's under the tie, okay. What? I was thinking I could put, like if I really wanted to draw the shirt, I could put the shadow and stuff in here, but I don't think I need to put more than that. It will like kind of distract from the portrait. But there's something I'm not totally content with yet. I'll remove that curl up here. Although that is not the thing that's been bothering me. I haven't even really noticed it since I initially did it and thought, oh, that'd be a bit different. I'm going to go behind everything. Oops. Make a new layer. I'm keen to darken the background. Maybe rather than totally changing the color, I'm going to, whoops, I'll just put the same color in here and just make it really transparent. I have another idea on top of this. To, whoops, make a shape which is going to be lighter. And that's kind of interesting. And now I was just going to blur that shape and see what happens. So this is something that I use sometimes, is the Gaussian blur. Yeah, I don't know, that's like the transition there is just like way too smooth. But this is, I actually use this always when I make something, a thumbnail, and I'll put a black text layer under my white text layer. Yeah, I feel like that gradient is like way too smooth, so I don't really like it. I think that's kind of more interesting. So I'm not going to blow that at all. I'm going to copy this and make a bigger version and drop it down, make it less transparent, make it more transparent. I've just said that wrong so many times today. So I wonder, there's something so I saw Goodman Curl is now gone. Hello Tommy, you're here too. Oh, add the coding in the back. I could grab that from somewhere. Thank you, Linda. Thank you for your encouragement. One string of code coming down, like I don't, like it could be in that vertical. I wonder. Interesting idea. I'll experiment with that. I will just grab some matrix code, and I'm sure I can just drop a layer in, like make it transparent. Matrix digital rain is what it calls it. That's cool. Oh, yeah, could totally. Oh, that's look at all of this digital rain. Alright, so I just grabbed this. I'll send it over to my iPad. Oh, it's super crisp. Wow, this looks like I'd like it a bit more gritty, but I can just blur it a bit. It doesn't have that gritty feeling. The texture, it looks like vector image digital rain. There are all these different versions. I used DuckDuckGo and just searched for matrix code, and it brought up all these different possibilities. Oh, now it's not airdropping. Why not? Doesn't want me to. Maybe it doesn't want me to use that particular version because there are much cooler versions. Oh, some of it's so intense. Oh, that looks really cool. You can't see what I'm seeing, but it does look really cool. Hopefully this little intermission will be worth it. And if not, it would have been a fun diversion. I'm seeing some fun matrix code. insert photo. This one. I have a couple of different ones. This has much finer like font stuff. Just so just in that there's this one, like the line in the background, just that idea what you said, Martina, just one line. I could duplicate this layer, try it out. You can always just try things out digitally. Pretty low risk. So if I just, or maybe that the dark cross. Could keep it in there. Oops. I know, that's pretty minimal. It looked pretty cool. So, I don't know, that's... Oh, I could turn it like that, just like super light. And then bolder there, maybe. That's interesting. What do you all think of that? The color again is like, it's not how it looks. It's so hard. Oh, it looks a bit more like that. It's so hard to, for some reason, to show through the camera lens what Procreate looks like. Kind of looks a bit more like that. Martina's dancing. Cool, says Nicole. Nice. That was fun. Thanks for the suggestion, Martina. Collaborative effort. Just wondering what something is still not quite. I feel like something could be a bit different. What is it? That is just thought within some of the really dark areas, maybe a bit more variation. Maybe this darkness could be a bit lighter. Maybe it's something about that shadow shape. Hi Shannon, hello. Nice to see you here. Hugo Weaving must have had such a fun time playing Agent Smith. I get that impression as well. Tommy just said, did you? And I can't remember what you're referring to. What's up, Shannon? Nice to have you here. Linda, you like using Procreate when you get to a part in a painting you're not happy with and could manipulate it digitally until you can find a direction to go in it. Yeah, that's I've so often done that as well. I get to a point, I'm like, nah, I'm not sure if it's this which is gonna have that impact that I want, or if I do this with it, and then taking a photo of the painting, going to a digital version of it and experimenting with it is a really interesting way to keep exploring. And then maybe you find something that's like, then you have the challenge of trying to make it kind of echo that coolness that you've discovered digitally and bring that into the traditional media. It's a super cool tool. Did I try lightening the cross in the background to put more focus on the jaw? No? Is that what happened? I wanted the code in the cross to be brighter, like a stronger contrast. But I noticed there are some shapes out on the edge here, which are this could be interesting. If I remove that, the initial base layer. Oh, that's kind of cool. So I had that initial shape. Oh, that's cool. Having the code like in the dark shape of the suit. That could be really cool. Cool. Is that more interesting than it was before? So this was just the shape that I got started with, just to start putting things down. Maybe I could make it a bit more transparent, because it was like, I don't know, that was interesting. Huh. Oh, that's cool. So I had this brief thought just a little bit ago about putting some more variation into the darker shapes. And I can do that. Look, this is super bright and I definitely don't want to like that, but I can just make it really transparent, and then it's not that much brighter than it actually is. So I feel like with the digital approach, there are just so many different ways that you can achieve a certain result. You can have something in mind, and there can be like so many different ways to get that thing that you have in mind onto the image. And one could, like, if you're always choosing exactly the right color, like that could be a way to do it. But the flexibility of being able to change so much in the layers, like just these two shapes, is really interesting. And that initial color, like, it's not this bright pink like that, no way. But just that little bit makes a difference. I feel like it's pretty cool. Shannon, I was just saying earlier about Ian joining us and color, because we were talking about choosing colors and using digital color picking tool to figure out how to understand colors, and it's going to be so cool talking to Ian again. He's in a whole other color world. There's something about the hardness of that edge, and maybe just dropping her shape over here could kind of soften it in both directions. Not like that. Maybe. No, I didn't really want it going darker. This is like, it feels so orangey now. I'm not sure why anymore. Why is it so orange? Maybe this is all just way too bright down here. Ian posted an interview on Color Hub today. That's interesting. Nicolas Aribe also had a chat with him recently, and I was thinking to listen to that as well before we have a talk to Ian. I'm just thinking now, a really light, maybe in the, there's some light shapes, a bit more variation up here could be interesting. And just grab it white and make it much lighter than that to make it pretty subtle. Just like this area right here. It's cool. I think that's my favorite part of the whole thing. We can just make it that. Mm. Tommy just asked me if I find it more difficult to talk while drawing digitally. I just had a moment where I was like, what's going on there? And I was going through a few motions of trying to figure it out. I definitely feel like there are a lot more possibilities of like things I could be doing. So then talking, in addition to the fact that, oh, it's nearly midnight and I'm tired. Yeah, I think that my talking is different while I'm doing this because there's a different kind of level of problem solving I'm doing while I'm working digitally like this, and I'm so far into it now that I'm like, what is still worth doing? What could make a difference now? What are ways that I could? There's still something elusive, something I can't quite get at, which I feel like I just haven't got figured out yet. And I'm way past the like initial spontaneity, playful part of getting it down, and now I think it's because of the problem solving now that I'm really like, okay, what is it about this that is not doing it for me, that I'm trying to figure out. That's something I noticed, that when I'm like more in a problem solving space rather than observational, okay, what goes where, how is that interrelating with that, I feel like that is something that I can tune into in a way that when I'm problem solving and trying to figure things out, that then I'm focusing differently and probably not as talkative. So a couple of influencing factors influencing how talkative I am. And also, if you have questions for me, then I'll probably just ramble on and respond to whatever you have to say. So feel free to ask me things. But I do, having just seen that it's almost midnight, I do feel that I'm very close to ending this live stream. But do you have any questions? That was interesting, just putting that shape in there. There was like that. Yeah, that's cool. It just changed this. There was something like, there's a lot going on here, which I really like, and there's kind of not much going on here at the moment. And this is just like a kind of subtle change to that. Oh, also some of the like in darkness around the eyes. I wonder. Maybe that's too much. but there's something, some of this that I would like to be a bit darker. The zone is a good place to be. It is. See you on Thursday, Shannon. I'm in the zone. It is. It's the reason I say up to 2. I'm knowing full well I would have to go to work in 3 hours. You don't have to go to work in 3 hours, do you? But if you were me and it was almost midnight, you'd be like, having to go to work in 3 hours. Am I understanding that correctly? I hope you don't have to go to work in 3 hours. So yeah, it's interesting now just going through looking at different layers, seeing what kind of impact and effect they have on the overall, this one. The overall feel of it. But for about now, this has been lengthy. This has been long. Thank you so much to everyone who has been here all the way through it. So this is like an hour and a half of Procreate, and there's some stuff in here which is really fun that I like a lot. I feel like I could keep going for sure. I could keep refining things, working on things. But I could also just say, all right, that's it. And call it a day. Thank you all for being here so much. I enjoy the time that we share here drawing together. If you have made it all the way to the end of this, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, put your drawing hand emoji in the chat. If you're super keen and enjoy this so much, you could buy me a coffee, or you could join my Patreon. The links are in the description. I wonder. I feel like there's something to the shape here. There's something about the profile, the edge, the silhouette of the shape, which is perhaps I could merge these layers. Oh, not everything like that. No. That's created this kind of highlight in there, which I don't really want. But I wonder. Yeah, that looks better. So I selected that shape and subtracted it from that, and then I can put them together, and now that's one layer. All right. Okay. So always the final thing that I like to do is to drop a layer of intense color on top of everything. What color should it be today? Nicole, thank you for loving this. Rachel, thank you for the lime. Thank you to everyone who's been here all the way through. It's amazing. I really appreciate that we get to explore so much together. So I'll just put a layer of color on this and then play around with those layer properties. What color should it be? What would be interesting to drop on this? And just like, it's going to change things, but it could be something really intense like a magenta, cyan. My go-to is often like a hot pink. Purple. Linda says purple it shall be. All right, what kind of purple? Okay, we'll swing on over here to our purple place. Oh, make it should it be dark, like a bright pinky purple? All right, and so it's just gonna, at first it's just purple, and then the fun part is dropping down. Oh, even that looks pretty cool. Dropping down the opacity of the layer. Nicole said pink, purple. We can do a second one in pink. So, but they'll probably be pretty similar. So I just dropped it down here, and I go through the different layer modes, and just see what they all do to it. Wow, that's really cool. Lighten. So all of these layers have, wow, that's cool too. This is a color dodge layer. Oh, I wish you could see it the same way I see it, because there's a lot more kind of pink in there than what's coming through on the screen. But I will make a few versions of these, and oh, that's interesting. And I will, I'll share them on Instagram. Some of my favorite. Oh, that's really cool. Ha. That's cool. So that's, oh, that looks really nice too. Cool. That's an exclusion layer. That's a difference layer. I really like that. And that looks nice. Much more purple on my screen here than the blue that you're seeing over there. An exclusion layer. Wow. Oh, that's cool. Oh, hue. So this is just like super desaturated, but wow, it looks so much fun just playing with these color layers at the end. Oh, look at that saturation. There's just this one tiny bit of saturation in there. Why is that like that? What is going on? Like here, there's nothing that exciting going on here, but with this, there's just a couple places where there's like super intense. Oh, so cool. I will duplicate this layer and make it pink and see what it does. I think it's going to be pretty similar. Like the purple and pink are pretty close, but I'll just quickly cycle through some of those layers and see if there's anything. Oh, that's cool. Like that hot pink in all of the darks. What? Cool. This was fun. This is a fun way just to wrap it up after that hour and a half of exploration and effort, just to play with some magic. Such a fun feature and possibility of doing stuff digitally is how at the end you can just like create 20 different cool versions of the same image. Wow. Thank you everyone. You're all so great. This has been fun. I look forward to sleeping. I look forward to tomorrow, and appreciate all the time we get to spend together. So thank you. Tag me on Instagram if you're sharing there. Share to the Discord server. and it's amazing that you've been here all the way. I appreciate it so much, and I can't wait to see what you have done in that time. So please do share your work. I'd love to see it, and I'm sure the rest of the community over on Discord would love to see it too. And thank you to everyone involved in the Matrix. Like, wow, so cool. It's fun to rediscover the Matrix through these still images so many years later. Very, very kind of exciting way to readdress and re-access the inspiration that was shared so many years ago. Thanks everyone. See you next